Now, answering your questions about the law and legal issues. This is Legal Break with attorney Gary Bruce.
Today we're talking about the flooding in Houston. Recently, the government intentionally flooded some areas in order to save other areas, I guess to head off potential worse damage. Right. As a homeowner, I'm in the one area that they intentionally flooded. Do I have any recourse against that?
Well, that's, I think, what's come up. That's what the topic really has become, Maureen, is who are these people to make a claim against? The homeowner's insurance? Well, that's the first place you go, I guess. And
right.
Then do I have a claim then also against the government? Was this a condemnation of my property for the benefit of all? Mm-hmm. So that's the kind of the theory, and I think it's pretty clever. They took my property for the benefit of the bigger whole, which is, you know, what they do when they condemn land for a pipeline or expand our roadways and that kind of thing. So the government then owes just compensation for what's been taken, but they do have the power of eminent domain. So they've argued this was de facto eminent domain condemnation of property, which might be easier to deal with than getting it out of your homeowner's policy.
Right.
Because the homeowners doesn't necessarily cover flooding, you know, and they may allege act of God or all of the defenses that come up. So you bring an action against the government saying you took my land.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's clever, and it may work. So we'll see.
Well, how would a decision like this maybe affect future? You know, these kind of government deals affect future disaster relief.
Well, I think I think it will have an impact on decision making, but you don't. I don't know, because how do you question or criticize someone who makes a decision using the best information they have at the time? Mm-hmm. You know, we have a doctrine in kind of car wreck things called sudden emergency. Mm-hmm. If you make a decision to pull to the left and you should have pulled to the right, and hindsight says if you pulled to the right nothing would have happened, but you didn't have time to make that decision, then you're excused from liability. Now, you can't put yourself in the position to create your own emergency. But if it's a sudden emergency, a deer jumps out or something happens and you make a decision that turns out to be the wrong one, then you may have a defense. And so I think that may be partially, if they claim negligence, you know, you could say, well, the city official didn't do anything negligent, but it was still a government taking. So I don't know. It may end up changing the way people approach flooding cases.
They very well might. So interesting topic.
It is interesting. It's interesting how it's evolved from Katrina. Katrina was not really a man-made decision. Those were failures. There was negligence in the design of dikes. But so we see the evolution of law.
Yep. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gary. Look forward to seeing you on the very next Legal Break.